Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, I got a pretty good project for you here this week. A good client of mine has purchased a couple of, I want to say do-it-yourself outdoor patio gazebos. They're like kits that they purchased at a outdoor patio store. They've built these gazebos. They're in place in their backyard. They're next to each other, but the problem is they're sitting on an uneven surface. The tile surface and the concrete surface that's back there has got a lot of fall, a lot of slope to it, and it's pretty uneven. They've temporarily shimmed them up with some wood blocks, wood spacers, got everything perfectly level. They've asked me if I could make them some steel standoff boxes or steel plates, whatever you want to call it. And so I have, and I've done 3 of each. There's 4 columns for each gazebo. The ones on the back are roughly 11 inches square, at least the plates are, at least the boxes are going to be 11 inches square, and they range from 4 to 4.5 inches. You can see that these, they're at different heights and different elevations because every single leg or every single column has got a different dimension. The ones in the front are smaller and thinner plates, but still vary in different sizes. So I've saved the last one for each column, the last big box, and the last small plate for the front. It's a pretty interesting build because there's a lot of welding, cutting, drilling, tapping, a little bit of machine work in there. So a little bit of everything. So let's get started today's video. All right, so the first thing I got to do is cut out the pieces that I need for the bigger box. Now this is some 1/8 thick materials by 5-inch flat bar stock or flat stock, whatever you want to call it. And this is, I'm cutting them to about 11 inches right here. The box is about 11 inches square. So I'm basically just getting the 4 pieces I need for the box to get started. Now I'm going over my notes right here because every one of these boxes, all 4 of them were at different heights. One was 4 1/8, 4 1/4, 4 1/2. I'm not certain what size this one was, but this was the last box, and so I've got everything all measured up, and I'm just cutting everything to the appropriate length right here. I'm using the porta band right here, and this is, I'm learning, check this out. I've only got a 5-inch deep throat on the porta band, so I had to get a little creative right there to get those things cut perfectly smooth, but ultimately got them right where I need to. Took it over to the Burr King, kind of deburred everything, got all the sharp edges off, and there we go. So this is almost starting the assembly right here, and I'm just using these mag squares right here. You can see I've got a whole bunch of these things, different sizes. They're super handy, especially for a situation like this. Just stick the mag squares up, everything is nice and true and plumb, and then just putting everything together right here, tacking everything on the inside. I use a big clamp right here to draw the top part together on both sides, and once I got everything nice and square and everything tacked in, I went ahead and took this opportunity while I had the open box to do some welds about every 2 or 3 inches apart, about 1 inch long. And then this is the top part of the box, and just got my fixture clamps, clamped everything down nice and square, nice and tight, really easy. And then went around and tacked everything. And once I got that done, it was just trying to just weld all the corners all the way out. I'm operating off the HTP ProPulse 200 right here. I'm using 35 thousandths wire, and I've got my settings wire feed right at about 295 inches a minute is what my go-to is for this thickness of material. And you see me doing vertical up, vertical down, horizontal, flat. I'm trying to work in all the different positions right here. It's a good opportunity. There was a lot of welding right there, so it gives me a chance to get a little honed in on all that stuff. All right, so I just got a clamp to the corner of my welding table right here, and I've got my angle grinder with a flap disc on here. I believe this is about a 40 grit, 36 grit maybe. Now, because this is some hot rolled material, you've got that mill scale on there, and sometimes that gets a little bit hard to grind. It's really a slick surface, and I'm not. All I'm trying to do at this point is just get a nice smooth transition, from the weld and get the box nice and squared up. It is going to be powder coated, and so that is going to cover a lot of any of the imperfections that may have. But with a fresh wheel on there, it doesn't take much to go around and get everything all cleaned up. This is also a pretty powerful angle grinder I'm using. It kind of helped out with that. All right, so this is the tabs that I'm going to be putting on this, and I'm just laying out right here. I've got some 1/2-inch holes to drill, and I thought that, well, I've got this bigger piece of flat stock material right here. I thought it'd be a good idea to lay them out and drill the holes first prior to cutting them into smaller pieces and trying to drill the holes after it was complete. Worked out pretty good. This is just a washer that I grabbed out of my bolts bin there to just get a little bit of a radius on there. Now I'm just cutting everything down right here and doing a little bit of trimming before I take them over to the Burr King and do the final cleanup right there. You know, when you get a new belt put on the grinder, man, you got to be careful because it moves material fast, and that's what happened here. I put a new belt for this particular project, and man, it really gets down to some serious business. Got everything all shaped up, and then we're ready to get these things welded on. Just got my fixture clamps, clamped everything down, clamped the brackets down. And this is the beauty about having this welding table and the fixture clamps like this. It just makes things so much easier, so much faster, and holds everything nice and square, nice and true. And it is just makes things a lot easier to work with. Now these tabs, I'm not going to be grinding any welds right here. This is what you see is what you get right here. So I kind of wanted to do, the best I possibly could, as clean as I can. Even though it's going to be powder coated, still want to look nice. It's that cardboard template right there. That is actually the template that I made from the actual base of the gazebo. And this is the whole pattern, the whole layout. And I'm just pre-drilling everything. This is the 5/16 drill right here. I believe that is the size for the 3/8 tap. So I just jumped right in, and this is a good opportunity for me to use my new Starrett tap wrench right here. And then I just reached in the drawer and grabbed a brand new 3/8 tap and just jumped right in and tapped it. Now these first couple holes, this is a brand new tap. This is only 3/16 of an inch thick material, so I didn't think there'd be any problems. I tapped right through there. That went really smooth, really easy, and you can see that those bolts thread in there pretty nice. I just took a little chamfering bit there and just cut the edges off to make everything nice. I flipped it around, and this is the second round of holes right here. And this time I put a little bit of oil on that tap, and I got to say that made a really big difference. Everything worked a lot smoother. It's probably better for the tap, maybe lasts a little bit longer. That worked out pretty good. That one I had to clean out. There was a little burr in there, but everything worked out really good there. And there it is. This box is complete, and that makes 4 of 4. You can see the different heights in the boxes right there. And now the only thing left is this flat plate for the front side. Now those are also all different sizes. You might have saw those little brackets on either end of the plate are all different sizes. This particular one calls for a 1-inch thick, so I didn't have any 1-inch thick flat bar stock, so this is some 1/2-inch thick material. I was able to just take it over to the Burr King and bevel an edge in right there on both side pieces and stack them together. This is going to create a 1-inch piece that I need. I just went over the welding table and just ran across there and just put a bead on both sides, and now I've got a 1-inch piece of bar stock. I'll take that over to the mill a little bit later, and we're going to do a little machining, but this is the other end. That piece you see on the top is a template, and this other side calls for a 3/8 thick plate, the bracket, and so this here, I'm just going ahead and I'm going to drill this one out, and I'm going to get this one done so I don't have to worry about it when we get back to the bigger one here in just a minute. Back over to the bandsaw again, and just trim everything up. Yeah, it works really good. It can't get perfect, but it certainly gets most of it off there. What it doesn't get, the Burr King gets in no time at all. All right, so now we're back to the 1-inch piece of bar stock. Now, I'm not a machinist, and I don't have a Bridgeport. This is just a little Jet 16 drilling, milling machine that I've had, and my father-in-law had given this to me, and I've done a little bit of projects. If you guys follow my channel, you've seen some of the little minor milling jobs that I've done. But you know what? I'm just practicing here, and I could have used a grinder and ground this down, and that would have been fine. But you know what? I like to utilize the tools in my shop when I can. I'm not a machinist, so I'm just trying to, hone on my skills here a little bit. So when the time comes and I do get a machining job, that, hopefully I'll be a little bit more educated, and I'm not going to be that blind going in. So when I get a chance, I like to do what I can. Yeah, and this has no DRO on it. This is all manual feed, so everything is old school, but that's okay. That's what I have, and if I didn't use it, then I wouldn't be getting any experience at all. But one of these days, I'll get a real machining job, and hopefully I'll be able to be a little bit better at it. The only way you're going to get better is if you practice, and that's what I'm doing right here. But anyways, that's all done. Yeah, it took some time, but you know what? It was fun. Got a nice block out of it. All right, so this is that template piece. You can see I'm just clamping it down right there, and I'm going to just take my silver pencil here and mark the outside, and then I've got a transfer punch, a 1/2 inch transfer punch, and I'm just going to use that to get a center punch in the center there and take it back over to the drill press and drill this thing out. A funny story about this drill. I bought this set of drills probably when I was like my late teens, and this is a 1/2 inch drill. I still have the drill set, not the complete set. I've broken some smaller ones, but I've replaced them. But this one here is a 1/2 inch drill, the original drill, and it is still sharp as a razor. You can see that it's cutting right through here, no problem. You get the proper lubrication on there, and these things last a long time, and maybe that's the difference. That was probably 40 years ago, and I don't know how much I paid for it back then, but obviously a good quality bit back then. And it's hard to find those today. I mean, you can find them, but you probably got to pay a fortune for them. But anyway, it's kind of interesting. It's a pretty old bit, still super sharp. All right, back over to the bandsaw again. Another little story about the Portaband. When I bought this thing, I was using a 23 teeth per inch blade. Then I went to an 18 tooth per inch blade. Now I'm using a 14 inch tooth per inch per blade, whatever it's called. And that seems to work out the best. Those things, it cuts really good, all thicknesses. You can see I had no problems getting right through there. Just doing some final grinding right here, and ouch, it got a little bit hot right here. I had to get my gloves on. You can see that it didn't take much to heat that thing up. Couldn't touch it anymore. Got some gloves on right there. Yeah, I'm working with the Black Stallion 91 CR gloves right here. These are really good work gloves. I've been using them for quite some time now in the shop. And they're super comfortable, made out of cowhide, and they're really form-fitting to the hand, and really good for general purpose work around the shop. All right, so here's the thing. You can get a good look at that plate right there. You can see how one of the brackets is the 1 inch and the other is the 3/8. And so what I'm needing to do is close this off now all the way around. So I've just got some flat bar stock right here, and I'm trimming everything up to fit. These are the pieces to go across the back. Now it's not quite 3/4 of an inch. I believe it's about a 1/16 under 3/4. And then these are the angle pieces for the edge. And I'm just getting those things trimmed up right here, and then I'll be able to get everything all assembled. Fairly easy. I just use that big block as a guide to keep everything nice and true and plumb, and got everything tacked into place. And once it was tacked in, I just went ahead and finished welding everything out all the way around. I don't know. I always get carried away when I'm doing stuff like this. This did not have to be as strong, as heavy duty as it is. But once I get started doing something, I just have to just go all out. This didn't have to be like this, but I wanted it to be complete. It didn't take that much more to just weld everything around and then get it just right. There's not a lot of structural value on this thing. It is just a lot of down force, no lateral force per se, and so. This is just really going to work out really well. These gazebos are not really that heavy to begin with. Super heavy duty brackets. This is what the owner wanted, so I delivered the best I could right here. I got everything welded out again, just going through grinding and more grinding, getting everything as flat as I possibly can. It takes a lot of time to go through this. So I'm finding if I use cold roll material for a lot of stuff, it grinds a lot easier. But every time I use this hot roll with the mill scale on it, seems to be a lot of work. But, ultimately, I got around and got everything nice and cleaned up, and it looked pretty good. Trying to give you all kinds of different angles right here. There's a good shot of the welding table and how useful it's been. Just clamping everything down. This worked really good right on the corners, I was able to, it's at a good elevation, it's a good height, so it makes it really easy to work with. All right, so the last thing is just to get these brackets welded on. You see I've got that mag square right there. That plate is actually on an angle, so I needed to bring those brackets up flush with the angle, and that's what I was doing right here with the mag square. Once I got everything tacked in, it's just a matter of just welding everything all the way around. Only thing left I had to do right here is just grind the flat top right here. Everything else is okay, but the footprint of the gazebo is going to fit flat right on there. Well, there it is. I got to tell you, that took me about a week and a half in the shop. It was a long process. I'm glad to get this thing out of the shop. It was a good project, though. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to check out my website at JIMBO'sGarage.com for your latest swag and torch lead holders. Follow us on Instagram. Check us out on Facebook. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.